Hello! This big old box turned up on the doorstep today, so I'm going to open it right now. Let's get into it! Ooh, what a fancy looking box. So I've been seeing ads around the place, and I've also seen a few YouTubers opening these boxes with Teddy Blake on them. They reached out to me. They are designer handbags made in Italy with Italian leather, and when they contacted me and offered me a handbag, I just couldn't refuse. Wow, that is a really big box. I'm having trouble fitting it on my camera on the desk, but it's a nice plain white box, very elegant. Teddy Blake, New York, is looking to democratize the luxury leather product industry by offering the same quality in terms of leather, craftsmanship, and look, but at a fraction of the price. We call it fashion at a fraction. And I can tell you that this is still the most expensive bag that I will have ever owned, and it is definitely the most expensive thing that anyone has ever sent me, so I'm pretty nervous about opening this, but I'm also incredibly excited, so I'm not going to keep you in suspense any longer. Let's get this box open, shall we? Alright, it's in a lovely cloth bag to keep the dust off. I guess if you collected designer bags, you probably would want to have them in cloth ones like that. I'm afraid I have nothing quite that glamorous. My handbags usually range from about $30 to $50, and I'm complaining if it's $50, so this is considerably more than that, but I guess technically it is cheaper than buying a super designer handbag, say from Gucci or who else, Jimmy Choo or something, when they're thousands of dollars. These are more in the hundreds of dollars range, but yeah, that's still a lot of money. Alright, I have got to get this bag open. Okay, that is gorgeous. You know I had to pick red. Oh wow, that's so pretty. Let's pull this out. It's so fancy. So the bag that I chose from their fairly extensive range of bags is the Bella Palmelatto in a size 15-inch, and of course I had to choose the red. They do have a lot more muted colours, but I had to pick the loudest one in the bunch. I want red! I guess I'll have a look inside now and see what's in here. There's some more paper that needs to come out. There's a strap there to turn it into a shoulder bag, or you can hold it by its little handles here. It feels pretty solid. Now we have the main chamber here. Gosh, that's beautiful inside. It's so suede-y and lovely. You can really feel that leather. It's beautiful. It looks like there are two compartments here. Well, that is a nice zip too. Feels really smooth. So there's a compartment there, and on the other side is a second compartment. It's quite simple, but I just like the design that it's got a main chamber and then two on either side, because I have ideas of what I'm going to do with this bag. My handbags are so cheap, and this one just feels so luxurious by comparison. Found more things. It looks like it unclips from there, so you can really get it open and fill it full of stuff. I think it's actually meant to be like a tote bag, and that's from the category that I picked, were the tote bags and carry-alls, because I figured that I like to carry a lot of things, and this may well be good for art supplies. I'm trying to work out how to attach this. It goes like that. That's how it works. See, there's two little clips here. There we go. Yay! I think I'm going to leave it like that, because then I'm not going to lose it while I'm demonstrating, and it looks like it moves around easily enough so that I can still open it up. So of course I'm an artist, and I was thinking, how am I going to turn this bag into something arty? So I think I'm going to fill it with some nice art supplies, and then we'll take it out and do some art somewhere. Oh, I'm so excited. I get to use my red handbag. I'm going to have to dress up for it, aren't I? I can't be wearing my old slobby track pants. No, I must find something nicer to wear. First of all, let's fill it up with some stuff. So in one of the side pockets I'm going to put all of my house and car keys, and then some other essentials like my wallet, and also my mobile phone. They can all go in this side pocket, which I think is really handy so I can keep my personal items to one side. I decided to put that strap in the other side just for now. I did actually end up pulling it out again later. And now for this main chamber, I like to bring a camera of some description with me. This is my compact Canon camera. My larger Leica is really not going to comfortably fit in the bag, and I've got a separate camera bag for that anyway. I'd grabbed a bunch of different art supplies which I thought I might bring along with me, and I was just trying out a few different things to see what would fit. First up is my brand new sketchbook, which I showed in my previous video. It's A4 sized and fits in there perfectly. I'm so happy about that. That was the one thing I was most concerned about. I've also got another smaller sketchbook that I'm working in, and that one obviously goes in there because it's much smaller. I've got the Etcher field case with pens, brushes, and a couple of tiny little palettes there. I just thought that would be easy to put in there, and yes, that fits in quite nicely. This rose gold paperclip thing, which is really great for holding pages down when it's windy, and I thought that would be fancy. Also a water pot, and then my camera is going to go in on the top there. I also have a handbag sized thermo flask for water, and that fit in as well, with a bit of stuffing. And there we go, it's getting pretty heavy, that's the only problem. So I didn't put everything in, but there is room for a red lipstick. Temptation, my favourite colour. I'll put that in the bag too, and now it's time to go outside with it. It was a nice sunny day, but guys, I'm not a model. I'm a photographer. I've always been behind the camera, not in front of it. But here's some footage of me taken by my husband Nick, sitting in a local park, pulling my sketchbook out and getting ideas of things to draw. Here's the Etcher field case, and I grabbed out a pencil to do a little sketch. Unfortunately, the wind decided to pick up really quickly, so I gave up on the sketching, and I decided just to do some photography outside with the bag. So much more in my comfort zone here, doing the product photography. I even dredged out the old spot colour technique because it worked really well with this bright red handbag. Spot colour is when you put the background into black and white, and Nick also took some photos of me with the bag in between strong gusts of wind. It doesn't look like it's windy here, but I can assure you it was. I'm glad I wore the blue top because it contrasts nicely with the red of the bag, and I also wore that red lipstick, which I hardly ever do, but occasionally I like to dress up. And here's a moody model shot. Alright, back to the safety of my studio. I decided it would be just so much easier to work at my filming desk and be able to draw at leisure. I hate trying to hold a book open when it's really windy. And also time constraints. I had Nick with me, so I'm not going to make him sit there for like 2 hours while I'm drawing a picture of my handbag, because that's basically what I'm doing. I needed to find a way to incorporate the handbag into one of my regular kind of videos, so I was thinking, what can I do to make it art related? So I'm working from some of the photos that I took because I am going to do a full page spread here. The first one is that spot colour image with the handbag sitting on a park bench. I sketched it out with a couple of watercolour pencils, and now I'm going in with watercolour. I'm using my Sennelier watercolours here in light grey and Payne's grey for the background, because they have just a slightly bluish undertone, and that goes really well with the handbag. This is the first time I'm using watercolour paints in this sketchbook, and I'm pleased to report that the paper is excellent for watercolours, which is what it's designed for, so I'd certainly hope so. And watercolour pencils also work very well in it. I took the washi tape off relatively quickly because I didn't want it to stick on there and rip off any of that paper, but now I'm painting in this bright red handbag using Sennelier red, bright red, and a bit of alizarin crimson, I think, which is for the darker shadows. I really love how this picture turned out, both the photograph and the painting. Spot colour is one of those really cliche things that used to be very popular in the early 2000s. Oops, I've gone a bit blurry here. That will come back to normal in a moment. But I found with spot colour that red in particular just stands out so amazingly on black and white. I'm sure you've seen these kinds of photos around, they've been done to death, but I thought it would actually translate really well into a painting, and I wasn't wrong on that. I think I said it recently in a previous video that you can never go wrong with the combination of red, black, white and a bit of grey. It's just always such a classic colour combination. I'm going over the top of my watercolour with some Faber-Castell Polychromos pencils just to get in some more definition, shade in a few parts of the bag because it's all looking a bit samey. I also used a silver pencil for the zip of the bag, and then I realised later that the zip's actually gold, so I think in one of my later pictures I used the gold pencil, but it gave it a little bit of a metallic sheen. And you can see I'm just adding in some shadows here just to make the bag look a little bit more 3D and realistic, and a bit of white pencil just for a few of those highlights. It's funny because when I was first planning this video, I was thinking, is a handbag even going to look any good in a picture, or is it just going to be really boring? But I think it's actually turned out pretty well, and it's funny how a simple subject can actually look a lot more interesting in an artwork when compared to just seeing it in daily life. Although I have to admit that the bag looks really beautiful in person as well. That is some luxurious leather that it's made from. And the colour is just exquisite. So I'm just finishing up my picture here, and here is the final image. I'm really happy with it. It's simple but effective and very eye-catching. Now on to my second painting, and this one is an epic disaster. I'm going to tell you that right now. I've sped it up just so you can see some of it. I was very tempted to not actually show this at all, but as usual I like to share in my failures as well as my triumphs, and I figured you might get a bit of a laugh out of this. I decided to paint one of the pictures of me holding the bag, and I just messed it up so much. The hair, the eyes, my smile, all of these things just don't look right, and it's just, yeah, pretty tragic. I think the red lipstick threw me off, and I've managed to make my smile look more like a sneer. It becomes more apparent the more detail I go into. The bag itself turned out okay, that was about the only good part of the picture, and the background colours are nice, but what I was realising is because I've done the other page with the black and white background, having a colour background on the other side just doesn't quite jibe, and I think that was really throwing me off as well. I also made a bit of a mess of my arm, and overall it was just a complete swing and a miss. I find that if the eyes are wrong, and that includes photographs, then the whole picture's just not going to work out, and that's what happened here. I also tried to draw in my teeth, and for some reason they look really bad. That I could just go on and on about the things that I don't like about this picture. I tried to fix it as much as I could with pencils. I even included some of my silver hairs on my head because I have not dyed it in a very long time and I am growing old disgracefully, I've decided. Hey, if men can have grey hair, then so can women. But overall, I'm pretty disappointed with this picture. I just wanted it to be better than it ended up being. I'm also annoyed that it's actually in my book and I can't really take it out. I mean, I could cut the page out, but that's just going to ruin the whole book and I refuse to do that. So it's going to have to stay in there. And that's why I thought I'd show it to you, because eventually when I do a flip through of this whole book, you're going to see it then, so I figured you might as well see it now. I just did another layer of the bag to try and take out some of the patchiness, and here's the end result. I don't like it at all. And this is what the page spread looked like. I was actually going to finish the video here, but I was having a video chat with a friend, and she said, oh, you could have taken a picture of the cat with the bag, and I'm going, how did I not even think of that? So I actually have a third artwork to show because that was such a fantastic idea. I am so thankful for my friend for suggesting that one. Thank you very much. Because I just cannot live with this picture looking like this. It's driving me crazy. Every time I open the book I see it and I'm just like, no, it's cringeworthy. I pulled out my phone and took a couple of photos of my cat Trixie with the bag. She of course did not want to cooperate, because cats are great at doing that, and this was the first picture I got, total disaster, with a derpy blink. But she finally looked up when I clicked my fingers, and I got this one photo, which when edited into a spot colour, turned out pretty well, and I'll just leave out the background detail. But because the first spot colour had worked so well, I thought I would continue that trend on the other page, because I think having a black and white background with a red bag on both pages is going to look so much more aesthetically pleasing. And yes, Trixie is in black and white here. I'm using a couple of Faber-Castell Albrecht Dürer watercolour pencils to draw in my picture. I had drawn a very faint outline underneath which you can't see with graphite pencil, and then I went over with the coloured pencils. Now I'm painting in the background and I'm just going with a fairly neutral grey, nothing too exciting because I want all of the focus to be on Trixie and the handbag.
It just needed something in the background other than white. And now I'm painting in some of my black chair with that Payne's grey because it's a softer colour or shade than other blacks which tend to be a bit harsher. It's also got that blue undertone which I mentioned before, and that just goes really well with the bag. I painted in all of the background elements first, and then I'll go in with the details, painting Trixie first and then the handbag last. I'm so happy with how this picture turned out. It's so much cuter than my self-portrait, and I'm really glad that my friend had this idea because I would have just given up and I wasn't happy with how the video was looking, so I think it's just so much better with this third painting. This is on a separate piece of paper, by the way. I'm using a hot press cotton paper here with the intention of sticking it in the book somehow. I hadn't quite figured out that yet. I will work it out by the end of this video though. So while I'm painting, I'll just talk about Teddy Blake a little bit more. I'll link their website down in the description below, which has a lot of information too. They are based in the USA, presumably New York, considering that says it on the handbag. All of their handbags are actually made in Italy though. I think they use a manufacturer that makes handbags for other brands as well. They are all made from Italian leather, and they are designed to be luxury handbags, so they use high quality leather, not just any old leather. And they're aiming to make handbags that rival other luxurious handbag companies, but don't have that huge price tag. I mean, as I said before, they are still quite expensive, but hundreds of dollars is still definitely better than thousands of dollars, which I've seen for some handbags. And I would never pay thousands of dollars for a handbag. I don't care who it's made by. According to the information I received, they have dream designs with a team of Italian designers pitched from some of the well-known luxury brands. Teddy Blake creates handbag designs for every style choice. If you don't see your Teddy Blake yet, subscribe as we release new collections every month. I was having a look on their website and they do have quite a large range of different handbags, from small little clutch purses to these larger ones. I think this 15-inch one is just perfect for me though, because I have a tendency to carry a lot of stuff around with me. I think realistically I'll use this as more of an everyday kind of handbag, but I do like the fact that I can fit that large sketchbook in if I just want to grab it and go somewhere without having to pack another art bag, because I hate having to carry multiple bags around with me. It's nice to fit everything in one single bag and just be done with it. So there's plenty of options there. I'm really happy with the handbag overall. I think it's beautiful. The colour is amazing and it's such a high quality leather. I just really love it. I'd say it's the nicest handbag I've ever owned, and I'm not just saying that because they sent it to me, but because it's actually really nice, and I just adore the colour. So check them out if you want, and I'm all done with this painting. I'm so glad this one turned out.
Here we go, I got there in the end. It's not actually attached into the book yet, so I'm not so keen on that, but I don't know if I want to glue it down because it's kind of good to keep your mistakes and have a look back on them to see what you've done wrong, but I also don't want to be reminded of it. I might end up putting a tiny little pocket or something on there so I can slot this one into the page and then just keep both, but I think it just looks so much better with both of them in grayscale and the spot colour red just really making the handbag stand out. So I'm finally happy with this sketchbook spread, and I think I managed to get some pretty cool paintings in the end. So we've got this one, which is still my favourite. I just really like the simplicity of it, and I think the bag stands out amazingly well on this one, probably because I've got the shadows and things like that, but I do quite like this one. This is Trixie and her handbag, and we shall never talk about this picture ever again. Whatever. But there we go, a totally perfect page spread. This is entirely what I meant to do in the first place. I've stuck on some little vellum corners so that you can still see the picture through it, but now I can sit this one inside like a little pocket, and voila, it stays like that. It's not going to fall out. I can easily flip the page and all is well. I'm totally over it right now, I can tell you. There we go, I've artfully arranged the handbag with the painting. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was one of my more random out there ones. I had no idea what I was doing in this. It just kind of evolved into this entire video, but I did have fun with it. If you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up, and you might want to click that subscribe button for more videos. I have to give Teddy Blake a huge thank you for sending me this absolutely beautiful bag. I will be treasuring this bag for a long time. I really love it. And if you want to check them out for yourself, I put their link in the description below so you can read more about them and check out the other bags that they have in their range. There are some really pretty pink ones in there too. And if you want to check out a couple of my other videos, I've got a couple here. I will see you all again really soon in my next video. I hope you're having a great day out there, and I'll swatch you later. Bye!